and try to, just like we worked on, cut additional and allowed for more businesses to be exempted out of the business tax. We listen to people. We tweak things when we need to. We make major changes if that's what we need to do. But that's what you expect. God, if Washington, D.C. would function that way. I told somebody in September of 2008, and we heard all the stories about, oh, woe is me, the world's coming to an end, and we've got to pass this 700 or whatever billions of dollars bailout. I would suggest, had the President of the United States and the congressional leaders stood up together and said, folks, here is the first thing that we are going to do to send the message to the rest of the world and to this country about this economic crisis that we're facing. The first thing we are going to do is quit spending all this money. I think that the mental impact, the psychological impact that it would have had on our country. But we spent $700 billion to bail out a bunch of greedy Wall Street bankers. That we may see it again. We'll probably see it in some bonuses that people are going to be paid this year. But I think that was a disastrous call. And I told my Republican friends, I said, bad call, shouldn't have done it. And we had some good ones that stood up and faced all the heat and didn't vote for it. And God bless them for doing it. But the fact of the matter is, we have a federal government that today is out of control. They are spending money that we don't have. Matter of fact, they're spending money that hasn't been made yet. And you kids back there are the ones that are going to inherit this. And I worry about it for you. They're spending money that you hadn't made yet on problems they really don't understand. And I think the reason they're doing it is so that we will become more dependent upon them in Washington, D.C. Now let me tell you, a year ago, I was pretty bummed out. And on the 15th of April, I started feeling a little bit better. Not because I paid my income tax that day, but because I started seeing tea parties popping up all across this country and Americans saying, we are mad as hell, we're not in prison anymore. Americans were re-engaged. There are a whole bunch of people that were either Republicans or independents, and I got to think that there's some good conservative Democrats are in that group too. I saw a few people said, I voted for Obama, and that ain't the hope and change I was looking for. But the point is that Americans are engaged. It is such a healthy thing. It is such it's a powering thing for me. It gives me great energy to see people stand up. In New Jersey, in Virginia back in November, when we elected 2 governors who basically were running on fiscal conservative platforms. In Massachusetts. How about that? That was all about sending a message to Washington, D.C. We do not want your health care crammed down our throat. That's what that election was all about. And thank God it is moving on. And let me tell you, on March the 2nd, Texas Independence Day, what a great day for an election. We're going to send another message across this country. We're going to send a message across this country, and the question is this. Are we going to send a message that we want Texas run by Washington-style, bailout, spend-it-all mentality that we see in Washington, D.C.? Or do we want to have Texas-style fiscal conservatism that you've seen in the last 6 to 8 years put in place? I got an idea of which way that's going to go. So, let me just kind of wrap up by saying thank you for being here. It is, again, a very powerful thing for me to be able to lead a state with people who passionately love their country, passionately love this state, and are willing to do something about it. America and Texas are worth fighting for. So put me in, Coach. I'm ready to go, sir. Thank you all for coming out. I want to open. We got some time, don't we? We okay on time?
We have time for a few questions.
Great. Yes, ma'am. Miss
Glenda.
Glenda.
No. President.
She asked a question about when am I running for president. Let me address it a very straightforward. I have no interest in going to Washington, D.C. You know, it's a fine place to go vacation. Here's what I'm interested in. I hope that we collectively, and I never take an election for granted, and I'm going to work hard, vote and for the next however many weeks to March the 2nd and then into general election, Lord willing. But I'm also going to be helping elect Republican governors across this country that share the same passion, the same vision for the 10th Amendment that I have. My interest is trying to put together a very powerful group of men and women who are willing to stand up to Washington, D.C. and say no. Who are willing to stand up and say the 10th Amendment means something and we're going to stand up for it and we're going to fight back with everything that we can, everything in our power to make Washington as inconsequential as we can in our lives. That's what I really think a group of governors like that who are committed to that principle, elected members of Congress. Look, Washington ought to do three things really well. They ought to stand the finest military in the world. And you know what, Colonel? We do that. We do that. They ought to deliver the mail on time and secure our border. That's it. After that, we'll talk about anything else, but get those right. Right now, we got one. Yes, sir. In the back.
Governor, we have some concerns on the border and illegal immigration.
Yes, sir.
What are your views on that?
His question was about the border with Mexico and the illegal immigration issue that's attached to the border with Mexico. Washington has been an abject failure. And this isn't just this administration. This goes back for years that Washington has not recognized nor acted upon how to secure that border. As these drug cartels become more and more active along that border, let me share with you, last week, a van that was stolen out of Houston, Texas, my understanding, wrecked on a road down in South Texas. This is in Dimmitt County. In the back were 6 to 8 illegal aliens of Middle Eastern descent in the back of that truck who were being transported through that porous border. We've known for some time that more than just Mexican nationals were using the border to penetrate in on. And that's one of my great concerns, in addition to just the porous border allowing the Mexican nationals to come in unimpeded almost. So Washington has failed. I talked to Chertoff till I was blue in the face. In 2007, I asked Leo, and I basically got to the point where I'd taken all of the border sheriffs, all of them. I think there was one Republican and the other 18 are Democrats. But they totally understand the issue and the safety of their citizens along the border. We went to Washington multiple times to talk to Congress. No success. Chertoff, like I said, until I'm blue at the face. Washington, for whatever reason, is being... I can't answer why they won't. I mean, we're spending billions of dollars to fight terrorists around the world.